Welcome back to the second half of Focus. I'm Pearl Ollie, your host. Tonight I have Bill Allen in the studio with me.
Hi, Pearl.
Bill, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm the author of several children's books. If you're one of those rare people who have read my earlier books, I have what I called the Greg Hart Trilogy that I published myself. And I put that out in 2007, 8, and 9. And then last year, Deborah Dixon of Bellbridge Books discovered the first book of the trilogy, and she reintroduced that with a different title as How to Slay a Dragon, Book 1 of the Journals of Myrth.
Now tell me a little bit about, you said you self-published, and I've had several artists that have been on the show that have self-published. How hard is that to do?
It's actually getting easier all the time. When I did it, what I had to do was, and first of all, let me say that self-published is a term that gets kind of overused. I didn't self-publish my book. That would be if I was the one that actually laid it out and bought an ISBN number and did the marketing for it and actually published the book. I hired a company to publish the book for me.
Okay.
And so I paid a small fee up front.
What kind of fee, if you don't mind me asking?
It was $399, I believe, at that time, which has changed now. Now you can do it for free.
Oh, really?
But at that time, it was $399.
Huh.
And so they take that and they put it into an electronic format, and then they can print one book at a time. It's called print-on-demand publishing. So, you know, in the olden days, you had to do a printing run where you might have 20,000 copies of your book, and then 3 people buy your book and you're stuck with the rest of them. So they don't have to do that anymore. They can, very low investment, they can put your book out there, and somebody orders a copy, they print up a copy and send it to them. So
that's interesting. And this is such a great cover. I don't know if we can zoom in on this at all, but I just absolutely love this dragon on here, and he's tattooed and everything. We were looking at it.
Right,
and I asked you, is there a tattooed person in there? And you said no.
There's not a tattooed person.
But How to Slay a Dragon by Bill Allen. And we decided earlier while we were waiting to get on here that this is going to be a movie. We've got to have somebody pick this up as a movie. It would be a great, after him telling me this story. Tell us a little bit about this story.
Well, the story is about a 12-year-old boy he's the smallest boy in his class, and therefore, you know, he's not a very exciting person. So he writes stories about himself being this great hero. And then there's another world where they have a group of magicians, and there's a prophecy that gets slurred a little bit, and instead of the Great Heart from Myrth, who is supposed to slay the dragon, it comes out as Greg Hart from Myrth. And so they have to then look for a Greg Hart from Earth, and they pull Greg over to their world to slay this dragon for them. And poor Greg, he knows he can't possibly slay a dragon, but no prophecy has ever been wrong before, so no one there seems to have any concern at all that he should have to do this. They pair him up with a boy named Lucky, who's the luckiest boy on Myrth. And Lucky has this terribly carefree attitude because he knows nothing bad has ever happened to him and nothing ever will. So they make an odd couple to start off with.
When you come up with a book idea like that, now you said the first you wrote before this, and you had somebody that inspired you. Tell me who that is.
I did. My cousin is a best-selling author. His name is Raymond E. Feist. And I got started writing. I never really had any aspirations for writing. But when I met my wife, she wanted to write, and she didn't know how to get started. And so I was there, well, it's easy. You just start, right? You just write something. And so I wrote the first chapter to a book. Well, I enjoyed doing it, and so I finished the book. And then I did what a new writer would do. I assumed that the hard part of writing a book was writing the book. I didn't realize that the hard part is actually publishing a book.
Yes.
And I thought it would just be this matter of taking it, sending it out to a publisher and saying, here's my book, would you like to publish this? And if it was good, that they would do that. But that's really not how it works at all. So I knew I had this cousin who had written several bestsellers at the time. And I'd never met him, but I knew his aunt. I knew his mother, my aunt, very well. So I ended up calling my aunt and trying to get some pointers on how to get it published. And she said, well, I can have Ray read it. And I said, that would be great, have him read it for me, which he did. And Ray's kind of a funny guy. And what he told me was, I don't like your story.
Oh, God. Knife in my heart. Oh.
But that was very reasonable because it wasn't a very good story.
But that's what a publisher would do, though, and that's
right.
what they would do.
The publisher wouldn't tell you anything.
Right.
The publisher would just send you back a form letter rejection, and you would never know anything. But Raymond actually gave me some help, and what he did was he said that he liked my imagination, and coming from him, who's this great writer of fantasy, he has a lot of imagination in his writing. So I was very psyched about his opinion of this. And he said that he thought that I actually could be a writer if I wanted to do the work. So what he told me...
So what do you do then? Okay.
Well, what he told me was...
Your cousin doesn't like your book. That's a kind of a blow. I mean, if somebody told me they didn't like my book, I'd probably, and a lot of people do, throw it away. That's it. They don't actually even do anything with it.
A lot of people probably do stop right there.
That's true.
But he told me that he gave me some advice. It was very good advice. He said that I needed to immerse myself in the book world. I needed to go take courses in writing, go buy books on writing and read everything I could about it, join a writer's group, join critique groups, talk to authors, just basically immerse myself in that world until I found out the craft of writing, until I learned that craft. And that was very good advice. And
now, you went to Space Coast Writers?
I did. There's a group here in the area, Space Coast Writers Guild, and I belong to another group called Scribblers of Brevard.
Okay.
And both those groups helped me quite a bit. I also took a correspondence course in writing because I have a full-time job. And I started writing really... I wrote a short story for that correspondence course that then I later turned into the book that was originally written there.
Isn't that something? So if you have, now you have this book that's published, right? This one is the book they took and published. And you also have, they want a trilogy, right? They've got 2 other backup books for this?
Right. They bought this book and they bought options on the other 2 books. So they have those books now and they're looking those over.
Now, how can we buy this book? How would you, if somebody was interested in this book today, how would they find it?
You can buy this book from the publisher, or you can go out on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, anywhere.
Barnes & Noble has it? Now, they order it, right? It's because it's print on demand, so if you wanted this book?
Right, they would have to order the book. They won't carry a book in their store unless it's a national thing.
And if any movie producers want this book, same place. It's a good book, so that's you have a chance at it. In fact, you did send it to a movie producer somewhere, or somebody. You didn't send it; they liked it or something, right?
Right.
Your wife was kind of telling us about that.
I guess it's a.
And she's going to be the actress in the book, in the movie,
that's
right?
That's what she wants to do, right? She has this dream of being an actress, and I think she wants to play the part of the dragon. But no, actually, there was a...
That's not going to work tonight. You should have never said that one.
There was a movie company that did inquire about the book. And basically, the movie companies just, they contact publishers and they ask, do you have any books of this type? And they had a book of that type, so they sent it out. So I'm waiting to hear on that.
Isn't that wonderful? I hope something good happens from that, because it's definitely an interesting book. And this type of, now you started this as an adult book, or turned it into a children's book?
When I took the short story and converted it to a book, I wrote it as an adult book. And then I went to market it, and I realized adult humorous fantasy is just very little marketed. But while I was looking to find adult publishers, I ran across all kinds of children's publishers looking for that type of thing. So I ended up rewriting the book as a children's book.
Well, that's something good for people to know. And Bill, I've really enjoyed having you on the show. And we've already run out of time, but we do have a trailer of your work, and what a trailer is just another little brief of the story, right? And that's a good marketing tool. So we're going to end the show with that, and hopefully we'll see everybody next week for another great show.